You're watching VinylicPumaGaming. What's up, guys? So today I wanted to do something different and discuss some things or some ideas that I had that I think would make Fallout 4 a better game than it currently is. Now, I'm trying to stay away from some of the obvious criticisms many others have levied against Fallout 4, which include things such as how they don't like Fallout 4's dialogue system, or they didn't like how Fallout 4 doesn't make you ever feel evil unless you're playing the Nuka World DLC. Now, for this list, I'm going to be focusing on a combination of things that I think Bethesda could fix today, as well as some things that Bethesda could fix going forward with the Fallout franchise. Since it appears that there won't be any more DLC for Fallout 4, certain things I'm going to be discussing aren't going to be added, and we will just have to wait until the next game in the franchise. Either way, I think all of these are pretty good ideas to implement in the next game, and like all ideas, they're free. And they don't hurt anybody. So without further ado, these will be 7 ideas and things that would make Fallout 4 better and more fun. Number 7. Better looking and better optimized textures. While a lot of people discussed Fallout 4's dialogue system as a major problem with the game, one of the criticisms of Fallout 4 that flew under the radar when it initially came out was how lousy some of the in-game textures looked, and still look to this day. This is especially the case when comparing some of the other games that were released in the same year. Even worse, some of the textures in Fallout 4 aren't optimized particularly well, which can have a negative effect on performance on PC, and I'd imagine it also results in bad performance on the console versions of Fallout 4 as well. On PC, even if you're playing Fallout 4 with ultra texture quality, you're not going to see much difference in the visual quality of the textures. This is unlike the vast majority of other PC games where playing on low versus playing on ultra yields a significant difference. Now, I'm not sure if Bethesda decided to not have great textures because they knew that people would develop their own texture mods, or whether Bethesda designed Fallout 4 with Fallout 4 VR in mind. Typically with VR games, the goal is to get the highest frame rate for the smoothest experience possible, and maybe high quality textures take away from that. Even still, I think it would behoove Bethesda to create an official texture pack for Fallout 4 that improves the game's visuals, as well as with the goal of improving performance. Improved textures across the entire game would make Fallout 4 look even better, and would be worthy upgrade for what is a good game. Even if Bethesda doesn't improve the visual quality, they could stand to make better, more optimized textures for their game. That way you would see better performance on lower-end systems on PC, and you might even see some better performance on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 hardware. Number 6. Vehicles. So this might be a choice that caught you off guard. At the same time, why is it that I can't drive a car in any of the Fallout games? I can occasionally ride horses in the Elder Scrolls games, so why can't I drive a car, ride a motorcycle, or fly a vertibird in a Fallout game? And yes, I know you can use vertibird signal grenades in Fallout 4, but that doesn't really count as you're not actually flying the vertibird. While fast travel and teleportation makes the need for cars obsolete, think about the application of vehicles for survival mode. Survival would be a little easier earlier on if you could get from point A to point B in a vehicle. Keep in mind too that you don't get institute teleportation until much later on in Fallout 4, so having a car would be useful for getting around, especially in some of those earlier stages. Even without survival mode, vehicles could be used to allow you to fast travel from point A to point B faster, and vehicles would make it so you could explore a little faster and safer as well. If you're getting attacked by Deathclaws, just hop in your car and drive away. Assuming the Deathclaw can't keep up, you should be good. Vehicles are something we see from a lot of other developers that make open-world games. Grand Theft Auto, for instance, has flyable planes, helicopters, and drivable vehicles. I see the wrecks of plenty pre-war vehicles in Fallout 4, so why can't I fix them up and use them myself? Especially when I can blow up their nuclear-powered engines. We also know that Fallout 4 has tanks. Why can't I retrofit a tank and use it in battles up against raiders? Even more interesting, why can't I encounter raider gangs in armored trucks or battle tanks and blow them up with my Fat Man launcher? Vehicle mods have been popular in both Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, so why not allow pilotable vehicles in future Fallout titles as well as pilotable vertibirds? Maybe if we had both, there would be no need for fast travel at all. or if you included it, fast traveling in a vehicle would allow you to get to a place much faster with less time passing. Number 5. Settlement auto build and auto furnishing. Now, this is an idea that will appeal to people that have gripes with Fallout 4's settlement system. While I know some people like to build their settlements down to the smallest detail, and I think that should be preserved, most of us want something functional that looks good. At the very least, the ability to have NPCs furnish your settlements with various chairs, appliances, and other things would be really cool. As someone that doesn't really want to spend hours upon hours building every minute detail of my settlement, it would be nice if there were more prefabricated structures or buildings that I could repair at my settlements. Something that's also always irked me as well was the fact that I couldn't repair or demolish all of the pre-war buildings in my settlements. Crook Manor is a great example of something that would be nice to have some kind of auto repair for. That way, I could easily furnish the building as opposed to having all of these uneven floors and various other inconvenient and ugly looking structures. The house at Murkwater construction site would also be perfect for some kind of auto repair, which would make the house look much more uniform and more ideal for settlers. Auto repair of buildings would fit into the idea of the sole survivor returning the Commonwealth to its pre-war glory and making it a better place to live for everyone. Imagine if you could restore Sanctuary Hills to its pre-war state, both with repaired and relatively refurnished houses. I actually really liked the auto-furnishing features that were in Skyrim's vanilla player homes, as well as the custom player home that you could get in the Hearthfire DLC. It made interiors much more alive and made them look like they were lived in as opposed to just being random rooms with a bed and a chest of drawers somewhere. While it's cool that I can customize the look of my own base in Fallout 4, and that's certainly something that should be kept in the game, it would also be nice if players could have the game do it for them. Besides, most people playing Fallout 4 are limited to what they can do on either a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One controller. The ability to have some kind of automated furnishing system would be really useful to make things look really good. Number 4. Tamable Creatures and Better automatrons. Something that I thought was pretty cool about the Wasteland Workshop DLC was that you could capture and tame a variety of in-game creatures like Deathclaws, Stingwings, Bloodbugs, and countless others. These could be used to defend your settlements as an alternative to using just turrets or placing guard posts everywhere. Plus, it was kind of neat to see this big hulking Deathclaw walk around a settlement. What would have been more interesting is if you could have domesticated and raised things like Brahmin, chickens, or other conventional animals as food sources for your settlements. Or in the case of taming creatures like Deathclaws, you could train Deathclaws and turn them into companions. Maybe you could have also designed armor for them to wear, improving their defenses and even their damage output. The same thing goes for automatrons. While I think the combat aspect of automatrons was well designed, I wish they had more useful purposes outside of combat. For example, maybe you could travel around the Commonwealth with an automatron that acts like a mule, while you could have another companion that is actually doing the combat for you. Or maybe like Codsworth, you could have an automatron that has a built-in water purifier that purifies dirty water that you give it over a certain period of time. Or maybe you could design an automatron that will cool drinks like Nuka-Cola or some other types of drinks in an attempt to improve their effects. I also find it weird that I can't build iBots unless I have mods installed. Ultimately, I wish the Workshop DLCs added a lot more features than they ultimately did. While having a sick and really powerful automatron is cool, it would have also been cool to have seen more passive automatrons that casually provided some type of healing capability or buff to your character. Or in the case of the creatures, it would have been nice to use them for more than just improving your settlement's defense, and having them as reliable companions for combat. Number 3. More weather effects. While I understand that Fallout 4 takes place in October during the fall, it's strange that seasons weren't incorporated into the game as time progresses. In my mind, Skyrim got a pass on this because the actual game world of Skyrim had areas that resembled fall like Riften, winter like Windhelm and Winterhold, or summer like Falkreath. Different seasons would have made Fallout 4 much more visually interesting. Maybe you would get snow some days in winter, or maybe get green plants to appear during the spring and summer months. These seasonal weather effects would have been interesting when combined with the stock rain and radiation storm effects that we get in Fallout 4's vanilla game. Maybe one day there's all green plants outside, and then after a radiation storm, everything is dead. It would have also been interesting if certain things like temperature were taken into account, especially if you were playing survival mode. In cold months, perhaps the game would encourage you to perform mods to your clothing or power armor that keep you warm, or during the summer months, you would need to keep cool and not wear clothing that's going to keep you as warm. Maybe cold weather would also make ballistic weapons more prone to jams and overall less efficient. So that way you could use either a crossbow or even a laser weapon, as they may not be affected by cold weather as much. Or maybe frequent rain will eventually rust and lower the defensive qualities of your power armor if you don't keep your power armor painted. I think the introduction of weather effects and how they would affect gameplay could have really added for a lot of variety and really set Fallout 4 apart from Skyrim, New Vegas, Fallout 3, and Oblivion. Plus, the visual changes in the scenery would have been really nice on the eyes as well. Number 2, more weapons. One thing that's awesome about Fallout 4 is its modular weapons customization system. The ability to convert a pipe pistol into an automatic pipe rifle is really cool. That and the ability to casually find guns in the wild and remove some of the more valuable weapon parts on them and use them on your own weapons is a really cool feature. At the same time, there aren't actually very many weapons in Fallout 4 when compared to previous games in the franchise. At its core, Fallout 4 has about 8 pistols, 14 rifles, 2 shotguns, 9 heavy weapons, and 8 energy weapons. I would argue these numbers I just cited are very generous, as I'm including pipe pistols and rifles for both the pistols and rifles category. For the sake of comparison, New Vegas has 11 pistols, 18 if you include uniques. Including both regular and unique weapons for New Vegas, there are 25 rifles, 8 SMGs, 9 shotguns, 10 or more heavy weapons, and 30 plus energy weapons. The sheer amount of weapons in New Vegas is staggering compared to Fallout 4 and even Fallout 3. The big thing too is that the unique weapons in Fallout New Vegas are actually unique, and as such have either unique properties or look different from the guns that you regularly encounter. While Fallout 4's legendary weapon effect system is cool, it would have been better to have had less legendary weapon effects and have things like bullet and weapon type determine a particular weapon's effects. Maybe allowing for slug versus buckshot on shotguns would make shotguns more versatile at various different ranges. Or allowing for dragon's breath ammo would allow you to light people on fire, which that would be pretty cool. In my opinion, having noticeably less weapons in Fallout 4 when compared to previous games is weird, especially when you consider that we got more guns from previous games. Where is the laser RCW, the Chinese assault rifle, or even your standard M79 grenade launcher? Yeah, I can install mods that provide me with those guns, and the handmade rifle is a sort of a substitute for the Chinese assault rifle, but where are the recharger rifles from Fallout New Vegas? My thinking is, if they appear in previous games, why aren't they in this game? Or at the very least, why weren't they added with DLC? Hopefully, if Bethesda develops the next game, I hope they add some more weapons. And more importantly, they don't cut weapons that we should already have. Number 1, more features for the settlement system. As I've said before in a previous video, the settlement system is a great idea that was underexplored. While I've complained about some of the bugs in Fallout 4's settlement system before, I think Bethesda had an amazing opportunity here to incorporate RTS game elements into their open world RPG. What do I mean by that? Think about how the settlement system works. You gather resources, you build objects, you build up your local population, and then you defend it from raiders while also trying to acquire some new settlements to continue the process. This is sort of similar to an RTS game, except you can't conduct war with other factions. Of course, it's not as complex as something like StarCraft, but some of the basic elements are there. I don't know how many of you played Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, but there was an optional gang war quest line that involved getting a bunch of your gang members members together to take over other gang territory. Imagine if we had something like this in Fallout 4 with the settlement system. You could put together a force of Minutemen and then go attack gunner-controlled settlements. Or if you had allied with the Brotherhood of Steel, you could build Brotherhood settlements and go fight either the Institute or Railroad for control of territory. Imagine if this was combined with the Nuka World DLC and the various raider gangs, but on a much larger and more sophisticated scale. This would have been fantastic for Fallout 4, especially if the side you chose had some effects on Fallout 4's ending. Think about the DLCs too for a second. Contraptions allows you to manufacture weapons and armor. This could be added to this quasi-RTS system to where equipped settlers improve your settlement's defensive stats. Or maybe you could train settlers to become more accurate and skilled with certain weapon types, and from there, you could take those guys out on missions with you during your various main quest and side quest objectives. Or if you want to take over an enemy settlement, you can send your forces to attack. I think incorporating some light RTS elements mixed with the Gang Wars mode that we saw in GTA San Andreas and having them mixed together somewhat would be really interesting and would be really cool in a Fallout game. But that's just my opinion. Alright guys, that's going to pretty much wrap up this particular video. If you like this video, please be sure to like it. I wanted to do something different today, and a lot of people don't really discuss how, I guess, a developer could make their games better. But I figured today I would give some of my ideas for what I think would make an even better Fallout game. Let me know in the comments what some of your ideas are. But again, guys, like this video if you liked it. And as always, take care, and I'll see you all next time.